Can you hear me? Can anyone see my screen? Okay, all right. What's happening? Okay, so last week we we spent some time looking at AI, talking about AI, what it is, how it works, and how you can get started learning it. Some people have been making use of the resources I shared on the call, and they've been making progress. So last week we also talked about the right type of mindset to approach you learning and building with AI. So hopefully by now you've gotten that. By the way, I want you guys to react if you really enjoyed last week's sessions, if you're able to gain something valuable from it too. Okay. Some people are not reacting. Hey, okay. Blessing is not reacting. I did not do well, Abby. Just fill the feedback form so I can know what to improve on. I can see Shegun, Donald, Timothy, Joshua. Thank you. These are names I'm more familiar with. They've been consistent with Michael also. All right. So now that we've understood all that from last week, right? Where does it all lead to? Right. So that's what today and this week is about. This week is on applied AI and industry exposure week. Right. So we'll be inviting speakers from the industry to come and talk to you. All right. So this is the topic for today. Inside the industry, AI applications, people, and opportunities. All right. So what does the industry really mean? When we are saying the industry, what does it mean? Well, when we are talking about the industry, we are talking about what is happening out there, the places things are being built, things are being used, right? That's what industry is. Think of things like pipelines for transportation, think of power system, think of companies out there, think of think of organizations out there, right? Think of businesses, like that is the industry. Right? So when building things for the industry, you would have a shift in mindsets, right? Because now we are not just building the personal project anymore. We are building things that other people would use, things other people will rely on. So whatever you're building has to scale, right? Scale means that it has to be able to adapt to many people using it, right? And it also has to work because sometimes life depends on some of these things that you build. So where does AI show up? So And think this is where AI show up. This is one place AI shows up a lot in healthcare, right? CT scans results and X-ray results that usually take maybe months before or weeks before. It now takes days because um, top hospitals, I don't mean the common ones, right? But because the common ones do not really have CT scans, they don't have CT machines, right? But top ones make use of AI to to give results on these scans, right? CT scan is like a brain scan. We also have the MRI machine too. So instead of doctors manually checking, identifying points in maybe the brain or part of the body, they just feed that to an AI system and it just detects that. Now you know you have to be very careful because most times AI cannot be 100% accurate, but sometimes you as a doctor can come in and try to verify. But most times it's very useful. It saves a lot of time, a lot of time. So it's also used in X-rays to X-ray diagnosis too. It's used in ride sharing app. So think of your Bolt, your Uber, your InDrive, right? Think of those kinds of apps. So if you notice if you request a driver and the driver is coming, the your app will tell you how long it will take for your driver to get here. And how does it, so that's EDA, or I think that's ETA, so estimated time of arrival. It's telling you it's telling you this is how long the rider is likely going to take to get here. Sometimes it is accurate, sometimes it is not because it depends on factors. If the road is free, it will be a different time than if there's some traffic somewhere, right? Think of social media. All your all your usage is being tracked. All your the apps you click, maybe ads you even clicked on. That's why sometimes when you click on an ad on a social medium site and you go to another one, you see the same ad there. Their data is being shared across platforms that way. And that's one thing Meta is good at. Meta has Facebook, they have WhatsApp, they have Instagram, and a lot more that you might not even know, right? So Facebook, for example, now I think Facebook still has the largest user base of all social media. Imagine the amount of data they've gathered from there. Imagine the amount of data they've gathered from Facebook Marketplace also. Right. So all the data they gather, so that is how these companies actually make their money. Most of these social media companies through advertisements. So you have a large customer base now. Companies will just reach out to you. Oh, we want to advertise our product. All you need to do as a company is to just show it to people and maybe track the people that click the ads and share it with the company and they pay you, right? In fact, that's how most companies actually get their money. They either get it when you subscribe to their services or through ads. So what all these influencers on Twitter, on Instagram are doing, the companies also do the same thing, but for other companies. And sometimes even small businesses, you as a small business now, you can decide to create an ad on maybe Instagram, just all those sponsored posts, right? Those are ads. Also in agriculture, we have something called precision agriculture. In agriculture, AI is used for pest and disease control, although it's not being widely adopted in this part of the world. But in other parts, yeah, definitely. There's the use of drones to plants. There's the use of drones for surveillance of agricultural lands. There, some farmers even use autonomous tractors to carry out operation on the farm. Like that's crazy. Imagine tractors as big as they are, and then somehow you're able to automate them to do things for you, maybe to plow the field, to get and different things you can attach to tractors. It's also used in defense and security. So you are at the airports, right? You are at the airports. Maybe you are a wanted criminal, for example. There are cameras in the airports. If you just once it detects your face, it just scans the database. Oh, this person is a criminal. That's how it actually works. Because how do you think sometimes when some criminals get to the airport, they are immediately arrested, right? How do you think that happens? Like that's actually how it happens. The system triggers that alert that okay, it has found this person that they've been looking for. That's how it works. Space systems also. So your rockets, your spacecraft, they make use of all this in their onboard systems, their computers. They make use of AI. AI is heavily used in space systems and businesses. Now, if you notice, all these are applied, right? They're applied, but I want to think we have more because all this will spawn out from businesses, right? All this will spawn out. So you can just say this is where the biggest use is, and should I say where the quick cash is? What do I mean by that? A lot of these businesses want to integrate AI into their platforms, into their apps, right? And they understand the impact. Sometimes it helps reduce costs on their end. Sometimes it's that's why you see sometimes companies fire off employees. Why is that? Say you have 10,000 employees in a company now, and then you realize that 4,000 people with AI can do the work. Right? You as a business owner, it actually saves you money, right? But sometimes you hear on social media, AI cannot take your job, right? They'll tell you AI cannot take your job. It's people that are using AI that will take your job. I think AI can also take your jobs. Right? Now, why do I say so? If you look at the if you look at manufacturing in the past, right, mostly people were there. People were the one on the assembly lines doing all that. Now, most of them were replaced by machines. Now, if you go to factories, a lot of times you see industrial machines there. You see industrial robot arms there doing welding, picking, placing, and all that. Those people were replaced. It was not. Now I get that they have machine operators, yes, but those people were actually replaced by the machines themselves. So AI shows up. You can see that AI is showing up everywhere. AI shows up everywhere. So this is the ABAP power plant. I think it was public in 2024, I believe. It's a geometric power plant here in Abia State, right? So and they have a contract with a company called TerraHaptics. The TerraHaptics also started in 2024, I believe, right? And it's like the fastest growing hardware startup in Nigeria or in Africa right now, I should say. The people that are doing it, it's a story I like to talk about a lot. So basically, these people give them the contract to secure the power plant. So what TerraHaptics does is TerraHaptics has drones, they have surveillance cameras, and all that. They now put AI into them, right? So AI can you can use it to scan threats. One of their products, which is a tower that has camera on it, they claim it can find and locate threats like 5 kilometers away. It has night vision. It can see in infrared and all that, right? So this is the about. So this is being used here. You can see this is energy generation company, and they use AI there. And I'm sure that's not the only thing they use AI for. But they are okay. We'll get there. This is a robot. Right? You may it doesn't look real, but this is a real robot. This is a real fridge, right? So this is Figure. It's and Figure AI is a robotics company, and they are not using the normal approach of robotics. They are building. They are focused on because the hardest problem in robotics is not the hardware itself, it is the intelligence, the brain. So those people are more focused on building the brains that can do all these household tasks, right? And then they now put it on a machine. So some time back, if we heard or saw that a robot was going viral for folding a towel, this was the robot. Now the thing about robotics is that what humans find very difficult to do, because robots do them easily, right? But things that are very easy, find it very difficult to do. For example, folding tools. You think robots that can do crazy stuff all this while they cannot fold a simple tool. Now that's actually very hard for them to do. It's very difficult because there are a lot of variables in it. But then see things like parkour. If you know this Boston Dynamics robot, then I think the name is Atlas. I'm not so sure. Right? It was a parkour robot, like always doing stunts, something that is difficult for humans to do normally. Doing stunts, jumping on ropes and all that. It was very dexterous, right? It was able to do all that. So AI shows up in robotics as well. And more is still to come, right? Because the robotics, particularly because this is embodied AI, this is physical AI, and there's still a lot more that has not been discovered. Last week, I saw a post saying there's still room for new people to enter the field. A lot of things have not been discovered. So this is face detection. Like what I explained about airports, not just airports, it's used in places you may not even know, right? So think of, if let's say you want to build a let's say you want to build an automatic door. Now let me give you ideas, right? You want to build an automatic door that checks people's faces, and if they are on the list, the door opens for them. You can work on something like that. Just an idea. You would although you would need a camera, maybe a small camera, an ESP 32 cam or some form of camera to allow that happen. Yeah, and this is a turbine. This is a gas turbine in a manufacturing plant. Yeah. So I think AI is used here for predictive maintenance. All right. And one other place, energy. Don't mind me. The name just, anytime I say energy, that number just enters my head. I, I hope I'm recording this session. Okay. Okay. Energy. So energy is one. So this is where I want us to focus on today, because SPE is an energy company. So in this industry, the focus is clear, right? In the energy industry, either you are in charge of keeping systems running, like that's what you are trying to do. Either you are trying to avoid failure, either you're trying to optimize the performance of a system, or you're ensuring safety, maybe safety in equipment, safety in people, like all that concerns AI in the energy industry. That is what it's just trying to do, right? So let's look at some of the applications of AI in the energy industry. We have predictive maintenance, we have load forecasting, we have pipeline monitoring, right? And we have process optimization. So let's look at predictive maintenance. So predictive maintenance is a proactive strategy using IoT sensors, AI, machine learning to analyze real-time machinery data, forecasting, blah, blah, blah. So think of machines in a factory, right? Or think of a power plant. Normally, you would wait for it to become faulty or go down before you make repairs. At least that is when you would want to make repairs, right? You won't make repairs while it is still running because you think it's in perfect condition. But then the energy industry in particular, downtime costs a lot of money. They say failure is expensive in that, and sometimes it can be dangerous, especially when critical systems depend on it. Now, AI comes in. AI comes in here. AI's role is not to control a machine, right? It's just to detect patterns. So you can see that once again, data is important. So what the AI does here is that it learns what the normal, because it gathers data, it learns what the normal operation is like, right? And when something starts to go on, it just flags it early, right? So whenever a fault wants to occur, it quickly detects that, and then you can just plan ahead for maintenance. So you can see how useful it can be. So not just for machineries, right? Anything. So before it happens, you react. Now, I want you to think of places where or things where you can apply predictive maintenance. Like type it in the comments or just unmute and just see what you think. Like where do you think it can be used outside the energy industry? What can it be used on? No one is saying anything. Okay, yes, on vehicle. It's used in electric vehicles actually. Anyone else, you can unmute and speak if you are shy to type, you can unmute and speak. Yes, industrial generators, Quadri. It is being used there too. It's used in EVs. Yes, it's used in the flight industry. Although I have not thought of how it can be used, but I think one way it can be used, just thinking of it now, is let's say part planning for flights. So there's in the industry there's something like air traffic, right, for planes, and you need to find a way to provide the path for the planes such that they will not collide or you need to find the perfect time for each plane to move and all that. Yes. Yes, and shortest paths too. Yeah, can be used on. Yes, Blaze, oil and gas systems, real-time surveillance. I think that's what the ABAP power plant is. Yeah. So thank you, Blaze, Joshua, Audrey, Usman. Yeah. So yeah, it can be used on planes. It can be used in electric vehicles. So let's move on. We have load forecasting. So another example, right? So this one is electricity. So if demand is underestimated, you are going to have blackout. If it is overestimated, you have wasted energy. So models are used to predict demand based on past data and patterns. So this is your energy generation company, right? It supplies power to you. Like it deals with demand. So load forecasting deals with it tries to balance demand and supply of energy, right? So the energy distribution company sends energy out to you, right? If if it is too much, right? Maybe there's a certain period that people are never around at all, right? It's wasted energy that way, right? If if you supply too low energy, some people will have light, some people will not, or the grid will just go down, right? So what is A? A. So what is normally done is that there's usually this in the middle. So central data collection by smart meters. So it is simply gathering data from these people using it, it's collecting it, and then it's storing it somewhere. So what the model does is the model is used to predict demand based on past data and patterns. See, every Sunday, these industries use like energy a lot because the data is captured and they've done forecasting. The distribution company knows that okay, it has to supply a lot of electricity during that period so that there won't be blackout. It just makes sense for our Nigerian disco. They're just making us suffer, right? So it load forecasting is simply trying to predict future demand and plan for the supply for it. That's load forecasting. That's what forecasting is. Forecasting is you are trying to tell the future. Now we have pipeline monitoring. So do we all know what a pipeline is? Okay. So this is a pipeline. You might have seen it if you are going to school from TMS. You might have seen it on your right. You just see, although that one is, I don't think that one is being used because there are like gaps in it and it's not, it doesn't look really arranged, right? So these are pipelines. Right? This is a pipeline. This is a pipeline underwater. This is a pipeline in the desert. So pipeline is it's just long tube and just for transporting products and transport gases, can transport oil. That's what it's typically used for. Sometimes when you see them on land, as you can see here, and sometimes you see them under the ground. Sometimes you see them on land like this. Sometimes you see them under the ground, and sometimes you can't even see them, but they'll be in the ocean, right? They'll be in the ocean. So pipelines carry oil and gas mainly. Now, how do you want to monitor something like this? How do you want to monitor? Pipelines are usually very long because they would normally go from where think let's say let's use oil and gas for example now. They will normally go from where the oil is extracted to where it is refined. Now think of the distance between that. You could literally find oil anywhere, but then it has to go to the refinery. So how do you like transport that, right? So pipelines are used. So what are the ways you can monitor and inspect them? Because if it's something this long, we know you cannot use humans, right? You can use humans, it's not impossible, but a lot of time spent, human bias, and all that. But in the water, how do you want to do it also? You get divers monitoring it 24/7. No, it cannot work that way. You need systems in place to monitor it. And that's where sensors come in. So if you look at all these pipelines, they are being monitored on their own with right. They are being monitored. If there's a breakage here and whatever is being transported starts to fall, the company in charge will know that there is a leakage because there are sensors attached at various points on the pipe. Let's think of a pressure sensor, for example. If there's a pressure sensor here and there's a pressure sensor here, right? For us to understand that things are going well, the pressure entering here, passing through the sensor here, must be the same when it's coming out here, right? If there's a mismatch, it knows there's something wrong between here and here. That makes a lot of sense. Now, sensors are not the only things you'll be surprised. We have devices that they put inside this um tubes also. It could be swimming in the oil. Some robots are even used inside pipes. Like that's actually crazy to even hear. Swimming in oil, gathering data, carrying out stuff inside pipe. That is insane. So these systems collect large amounts of data Sometimes sensors will collect images and they store it somewhere. So AI can be used in detecting cracks in pipes, or if there's an anomaly. It may not just be here that there could be a crack. It could be that there's vandalism. Maybe some people burst the pipe and they are stealing oil in all these pipes now. The systems in place would know that. Now, underwater here, underwater here, sometimes they use something called ROVs, remote operated vehicles, like underwater. They are like they control it with maybe a computer, a controller. They control the robots to go there. They use the camera on it to just check for faults and maybe carry out repairs. And sometimes they use the same thing we discussed here, sensors inside the pipes to detect all that. So we'll have a speaker come to talk about this very soon. All right, so let's move on. Now, for energy process optimization, it is very similar. It's very similar to this, right? We are trying to optimize energy in this case, and sometimes processes. Now, remember what I when I talked about how airports try to um, plan to prevent traffic, air traffic, right? AI can be used for that. When you say optimization, you're either trying to minimize costs, either trying to minimize time spent, or you are trying to maximize profits, right? So either you minimize or you maximize. In that case, in the case of optimization now for airports, that they could be trying you could define the problem as the trying to minimize unwanted time on the air, right? What do I mean by that? Sometimes planes will have to circle around the airport, maybe if a space is not cleared and it wants to land and all that. And that will be taking a lot of fuel, right, from the airplane itself. So trying to reduce the fuel used can be a problem definition also. Now, for common entry rules, you know all this now, and you want to go into the field. How do you break in? Well, the thing is that most people think AI engineering is the only way to enter the field because we are talking about AI now. They think AI engineering does the job, but that's not really the case. AI engineering is not the only way. In fact, when you say AI engineering, when you say you are doing AI engineering, most of the time people in the field you just think this is what you cater to. When you say you are an AI engineer, you are working for a business that maybe you are working for a company that is building a product and they want to add AI into it. That's what you are doing. Or you are a business itself helping other people build AI solutions. Some people do that. So that's AI engineering. But all this other stuff, you can't really call them AI engineering, right? You can call them machine learning, you can call them other stuff, but AI engineers are actually here. Now, if people in the space system say they are looking for AI engineers, they are not looking for the same type of AI engineers here because when you say AI engineering, typically, it just means you are leveraging LLMs. I think I talked about this in the first week too. You're leveraging things like GPT, Claude, right? Maybe their API or their model, and you are integrating it and using it to build something. Right? That's AI engineering. When companies are looking to hire an AI engineer, that's what they do. For my own role, I applied as an ML engineer, but most of the work I do is on AI engineering. For the software we are building, I'm the one in charge of using AI, using these LLM tools to maybe extract something from a document anything like that, right? So that's what I'm responsible for. So I work as an AI engineer, and at the same time, I also work as an ML engineer. Right? So they are actually different. So one way you can enter the field is data analysis. Like, I talked about data analysis in one of our sessions also. So as a data analyst, you are working with data, you are cleaning it, you are extracting insights. The insights you are extracting is for you, like it's for you to maybe make decisions on. But you see, for machine learning now, it is the it is the system that is extracting insights. Here, as a data analyst, you are the one extracting insights. You are extracting insights for stakeholders, for company owners, right? Extracting. So you might have seen people creating dashboards, something they call dashboard. Let me show you what that means. Let me see if I can find a good image for a dashboard. Okay. This is one thing a data analyst does, right? It has cleaned the data, and this is the insights it has extracted from it. So you can see this graph we drew. It's an insight. Insight just helps you understand the data more. See customer feedback here, agent status. So all this now, you just take it to maybe a COO, chief operations officer, or someone that makes decision in a company, and they'll be like, "Oh, this is very useful for us. We can use it to improve our business. We can use it to improve something." It's insight, right? You're trying to extract insights from it. This is another dashboard. So data analysts do this. Data analysts do this. At the same time, we have some people called business intelligence analysts. Very similar, basically the same thing. The same thing. I don't know why they are even different names. Business, you could say business intelligence analysts deal more with businesses, but where would data analysts also do it before, right? So data analyst is one way you can enter the field. We also have machine learning engineer. I've talked about this before. As a machine learning engineer, we are allowing the system, the model, find patterns in the data, extract it, and then just give it to you. And you can use it to make decisions of it. And then we have embedded systems engineers, robotics engineers. So when we say AI engineering, when we've been talking about all these software rules before, who do you think are the ones fitting the sensors to all these pipelines? Who do you think are the people that are creating a way for data to be gathered in these systems? Right? They are the IoT engineers, they are the embedded systems engineers. They are doing. Who do you think is assembling all this? Right? You get. So if you look at all this, if you look at all these rules now, you will see that they are connected. Right? Different people contribute at different points. Right? The people that are working on, we have people working on the electronics that this robot will use. We have people working on the software that will power the brain of this robot. So you can see that they are usually connected, but you can start with one and stick with one, and maybe you can expand. But when starting out, don't spread too thin, especially when you've defined that, okay, this is what you want to get into. So we'll be having an external speaker speak to us tomorrow about something. Uh, More will be shared on the group later on, and same thing on Wednesday too. So just anticipate. So we've come to the end of today's session. So if you have any questions, please ask now. So you can type it in the comments and you can just raise your hand to speak. Okay, so I guess there are no questions. I think I explained. Yeah, pressure difference. Let me even see the comments I've missed. Yeah, Joshua, the robot I was talking about then was Atlas. I think they stopped doing it one time and then they changed the way the robots looked. It even looked scarier now. Yeah, Joshua, pressure difference is noticed in pipelines. That's one way, right? That's one way. Yeah, they actually did. When they did, the video came out and you could see the robots turning like 180 degree, turning the head 180 degree, turning the waist 180 degree. It's crazy, crazy. When the robotics field, the hardware is not the problem. The problem is usually the intelligence, the brain. That's where the biggest problem lies. So I guess there are no questions, right? That's a good thing. That's a good thing too. We've just been building on what we discussed last week. So I assume most people understand that and they can see how it connects to this week. I wanted to talk about people. I just realized we've not talked about people. So there are people like us out there, right, doing amazing stuff with AI ML in the industry. You can just check them out. It would inspire you. We have one at the top of my head is I can't remember his name. I think this is the name. Yes, we have Aditayo Saka. Can check him out. He's really, really into robotics. Yeah. And check out his profile. MT Scholar wins a lot of competition. He just graduated recently. This is him attending a conference in UK after winning the one in Nigeria. He won this Ilorin hackathon too that was done, I think last year. Yeah, he won and just finished recently. Yeah. Finished in okay 2025. So you check him out. There are other people. There are people from Lasso too that I just cannot remember from the top of my head. But they are doing like amazing stuff. Yeah. So those are the people. By the way, if you are really interested in this AI of a thing, please take it serious because sometime last year we had a speaker from the industry. I think Mr. Walter. Some of you might be on the call then. He was talking about him seeing demand for AI in the industry. And he was even saying they are treated differently so that they don't need to go to the office every day because what they do is mostly like software related. Maybe once a week or twice a week they show up, right? But it was just saying we should really like try to learn all this. There was a speaker I wanted to bring, but we weren't able to get him to come and talk on AI for all this. Well, yeah, so resources as if you were on the call, resources were talked about on the call last week. Some people have started learning, some people are making progress already. I want to encourage you guys to make posts, right? Make posts on LinkedIn, write on Medium, right? Now, this is something I'm slightly guilty of, but I can tell you that posting on LinkedIn opens opportunities for you. Now, for me, it's slightly different. For a long time, I wasn't posting on LinkedIn. I didn't know what to post, right? I was going through Lasso. Lasso was going through it. But I think I'm back now. Post your progress, right? Nobody's expecting something perfect from you. People like to see, people like to follow people like following progress. If you look, there's this guy on Twitter now that is building, I think he's building a jet engine. Some of you may know him. I think his name is Zikoro. Is it Zikoro? Yeah, I think so. I saw this guy from when he started. Like the guy's company, what they do, what is his own business does they build all these charging stations, this big bulky power banks, and then I think he studied mechanical engineering. Right? I think he studied electronics and computer engineering. Yeah, he just started building the system, and we're seeing him make progress. Like we're seeing at one point he will cross a milestone. We post about it. Oh yeah, was able to achieve this. He posts his failures also. Maybe something burnt, he will need to have to wait for some time to get it and all that. Right. So this is the president of SP posting. He's going to also come and speak to us in one of our sessions in some weeks, right? So you can see him posting. He makes posts, right? Opportunities has opened up for him because for some people they will say, yeah, they were just posting. Some people reached out to them, and that was it. I knew this guy too that we started on LinkedIn, started posting on LinkedIn. He was into robotic stuff, then posting about his project consistently. And in like 6 months, the guy got a scholarship to study for a course for a short duration in Oxford. Right. Some people sponsored him to get a laptop and all that. You may not understand the power of just putting yourself out there, right? Until it happens to you. So guys, I want to encourage you guys to output, right? Output really matters. Okay, let me stop sharing my screen. Some people are leaving. I've not said this is the end of the call. Some people are leaving already. Well, thank you for joining in, everyone. We are going to meet tomorrow again. By the way, please fill the feedback form. People have not been filling that form. I don't know why. It just leaves us to guesses, to assumptions. We don't know what to improve. We don't know if we are doing well. So please just fill the feedback form. If you have any questions or anything regarding the bootcamp, you can chat me, you can ask about it. Resources, some people are already making use of the resources that I've not even shared yet, but I talked about them. So, okay, let me show you for some of you that may not have been on the call. Let me just quickly show you now. We have Cargo. Cargo is an open source, I believe, web app. You can get data sets from Cargo. There's a learn section here where you can take these courses: intro to programming, Python, data visualization, feature engineering. You can take all these courses there for free, right? And you get a certificate. These are some I've taken in the past before time series data, right? So Cargo is a good place to start. They give you access to GPUs too. So if your laptop is not strong enough, you do RAM issues and all, just go to Cargo, create a notebook, and you get access to GPUs, computer, you get access to computer resources you can use to train your models. They have data sets too. So if you are working on data, let's say you are a data analyst, and for example now, Messi e-commerce data sets, you can download it. It's in CSV format. You can download it, work with it, try to extract what you can extract from it. Right? So, so the Cargo has data sets, GPU resource. You can learn and get a certificate. They have competitions also. So you can partake in competitions. Look at this. If you are good in maths, this AI Mathematics Olympiad, this is the total prize pool for it. 3,000 things. So you can see predicting customer churn. I talked about this some days ago where you can use AI to predict whether a customer is going to leave you or not, right? Banks use this, businesses use this to determine. Is there a question? Oh, 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 wow.
Please, that cargo, what's the full website name, I beg?
I just realized I wasn't sharing my screen since. Okay, okay. Thought I was showing you guys my screen since. Uh, Thank you, Mazuk. So this is it. Cargo.com. This is cargo.com. This is the competition I was talking about. You can see various competitions. If we are good in maths and AI, this is the price. There are always competitions. I know some people that live up competitions. Like in this Nigeria, they live off winning hackathons and they're doing well. The guy changed his entire workspace, changed his laptop, changed his phone from just winning competition. And he goes solo in competitions, right? Goes solo and he just wins it. So this is Cargo. You have access to data sets too. Data set you are looking for. Cargo serves as a directory to find data. So say you are looking for music recommendation. Say you want to build a music recommendation system. These are data sets that you can use. Right. Talk about notebooks also. You want to, if you don't have a very strong PC and you want to leverage them, so Cargo gives you free compute resources like GPU and RAM that you can use to train your models. Right. So you can see other people's code. You can see other people's code too. Cargo. You can learn. So you can check it out. Cargo gives you free certificate upon completion. It's not video, so you'll be reading through it, which is also very good. And you would have to like do some things before you move on to the next stage. So really amazing. You can check it out. Whatever you do, post it or you started learning something, put it out there and use our hashtag, right? So we can easily track it. So I guess we've come to the end of today's session. For some reason, I noticed the numbers have been reducing. I don't know why. Hopefully, we get more soon. I don't know if it is the timing that is wrong. Hopefully, we get more people to join. But the hashtag, oh wow. Let me see if I have it on the slide. No, I don't have it on the slide. The hashtag is SPE Lasso 30 days of AI. I used it in one of our earlier slides. Let me see if I can find it. Check this. Yeah, this is the hashtag SPE Lasso 30 days of AI. There's a guy that's already used this hashtag on the group. I'm going to reshare it again. So please, you guys react on it, encourage him. He's one of those brave people that's putting himself out there. Now, it's not something many people can do. Many people are always shy. We talked about this. We think they are not good enough. Well, it doesn't need to be perfect, right? It doesn't need to be perfect. So this is the hashtag. If you post on Medium, post on Twitter, on LinkedIn, use this hashtag and share it with the community too. Share it out there. So we've come to the end of today's session. Are there any other questions? Okay, no other questions. So thank you all for joining in and We meet tomorrow. Okay. All right. Cheers, everyone.